Hi, Jason here again, and welcome to onyouryogamat.com. You are watching lesson 8. You are more than halfway through this learning Ashtanga yoga in 3 months, or really however long it takes you. But there's 13 series of lessons, just taking in your own time, just progressing through as far as feels comfortable. So there's no rush. Some weeks might seem easier, other weeks you might end up taking a little bit longer. Just, it's your practice, just keep breathing. Lesson 5, you really want to just put that on straight away. That takes you through the sun salutations, all of the standing postures, and then you can jump back in at lesson 8 and we're moving on. If you wanted to just watch this to get an idea and then link that together, over time you might start just to feel the familiarity of the sun salutations and the standing postures. You could just eventually do that at your own pace and using the PDF guides which go for each of these lessons just as a reference point. Ready then to move on as if we've finished the standing sequence. We've come through after last warrior, Virabhadrasana 2, that was on the right side. We've come through to sitting and we're sitting down on the ground. So this is a recap. We're going to go a little bit quicker now and then we're going to get through to a key posture in this series called Navasana. Dandasana then, with straight legs. This is the first seated posture. Spread the toes, keep the legs pleasantly active. We can sit on a block. We can soften the knees over time, sitting like this with the fingers spread nice and wide down on the mat. We draw the chin in, our profile from the side, try and imagine the back fairly straight, keep the shoulders relaxed, keep breathing. Good chance just to pick up on the Ujjayi breath, smooth breath in, smooth breath out, breathing in, breathing out. We aim to really stay connected to this breathing as we carry on then into Paschimottanasana. Again, sitting on a block is an option, softening the knees using a belt, taking our hands forward over time, a little bit further to eventually pick up the big toes with 2 fingers. We can work our way maybe down towards the ankles to inhale, lift the chest. Try and maintain some length here. Better not to go much further than this in the posture, because if you do, it's a little bit more about your chest going down, just let the head hang. You might be looking down to a place just above your knees. Just keep the knees slightly soft if it's a bit too intense on the hamstrings. 5 breaths here. Smooth breath in. Smooth breath out. Keep the toes spread, shoulders relaxed, neck free. From Paschimottanasana A, inhale, lift the chest. B is going a little bit further. That just might be incrementally moving your hands forward. If you did have the big toes with 2 fingers, you might be able to reach your hands around the sides of the feet. Again, softening the knees is an option to begin with. Wherever you are, inhale, lift the chest. Exhale, folding down. Try not to collapse down too much. Trying to just encourage the spine to lengthen in this posture, shoulders relaxed, and then some element that the chest is going down. Imagine the top of the head is almost going slightly up and forwards. Good indication of how you're doing in all of these postures is just to maintain and be aware of that full deep breathing and the connection to the breath. And after 5 breaths, we inhale, come up, straight arms, straight back. Exhale, release. We move straight into our first Vinyasa. We explored this over the last few weeks, taking it steady on the knees, nevertheless, ankles crossed, hands by our sides, fingers spread. Don't be discouraged if nothing yet still is happening. It's all about this internal lift to inhale, press, tilt some weight forward. From here, you might just come back down, scoot the legs out to the side, but whatever it takes, we need to jump or step the feet back or just walk them back, elbows into lower down. On the tops of the feet, we move through this sequence of either cobra or upward facing dog, lift the chest. Exhale just for a breath, downward facing dog. And from here, inhale, look to the hands, whatever it takes to walk the feet through, a little bit of weight to the hands. We work at crossing the ankles over time. Don't worry if you're not doing that, however it feels to sit back down. Straighten out the legs in front between all of these postures. Hands recline for Purvottanasana. Fingers spread, roll the shoulders back, lift the chest. Inhale, start pressing into the ground to get the hips up. Look to your big toes. Try and press those down first towards the ground. Keep lifting the hips, looking forwards to begin with. If you can do this with straighter legs and you lose sight of your feet, don't worry if you don't, you can lift the gaze either up towards the ceiling or ultimately back behind you, but do so only if you've got control in the neck. Don't let the head just flop back. Keep rolling the shoulders back. If it's too much to lift up with straight legs, soften the knees. Last few breaths here is 4. Keep breathing. Try and feel the big toes rolling down to the mat behind you or the ground. 5. Exhale, press, gently coming down. It's quite tiring, but we're moving on if you can with another Vinyasa, crossing ankles, knees to chest. finger spread, inhale, press, whatever it takes. Remember, we can sometimes use blocks at our sides. You might have to flick the hands in front to get the feet back. That's great if you can do that. Elbows in, press to lower down. Inhale, lift the chest, roll the shoulders back. Exhale all the way back. Downward facing dog. From here, inhale, look into the hands, whatever it takes, a couple of steps. So you can work at crossing to the ankles. If that's too much, just come down onto the knees. You could always take the feet out to the side to sit down, straighten out the legs. Next posture is quite challenging. So taking this nice and steady, Ardha Baddha Padma, Paschimottanasana. We can use a block, have the belt handy. It's about making sure the knee feels okay to get to this position first. You might just stay here. This actually posture will be repeated, Shavasana, in a few moments' time. We could explore picking up the little toe side of that foot, supporting the knee, and making sure we feel the weight here in the leg over time. We're moving the foot across. Now, if this feels like it's too intense on the knee or the knee's up here, better just to back off. You could use a block here, getting used to sitting like this. If you wanted to go a little bit further, and this felt okay, you could either move your hands forward and do a very gentle forward bend, or you could keep holding onto the foot, move your right hand behind your back, and hold your left elbow. Inhale, lift the chest, and possibly do a gentle forward bend here. Just make sure that feels okay on your right knee. This is working into quite a challenging posture, so there's no rush. Keep breathing. You might be doing this for a few years. Just take it steady. Full postures to start going further forward. Plenty of forward bends coming up though. Inhale, lift the chest, gently releasing. We aim to do a vinyasa between all of these postures. So if you're up for it, we're not going to do it all the time, but let's have a go at just doing one now. Inhale, press. I know it's quite tiring, whatever it takes. And I'd keep varying the way you cross your ankles from time to time to get the feet behind you, whatever it takes. Gently lowering down. Inhale on the tops of the feet. Roll the shoulders back, lift the chest. Exhale, gently moving back. Downward facing dog. Inhale, press into the hands with the fingers spread. Again, you can cross your ankles two ways around. Just mix that up as you come back through. Straight like that. In front. So again, if you wanted to, just could be different on each side. You might just be doing a little bit less on this left side if it feels a little bit more, if you're feeling a little bit more on that left knee, a little bit more openness required here. Just be here. A little bit further to go. Right hand underneath the little toe side of that foot. Gently, don't force anything. You've got to feel like this is nice and heavy if you're going to move it. You could still have your knee down on something. Again, if the knee's up here and it feels a bit tight, I'll just back off. And then if you wanted to go further, it could just stay here in place. Make sure it does not want to feel like you're twisting the knee. Just be here. Over time, it could be here. Further to go this way, but just to begin with, a great way in. And a few breaths. Breathing in. Breathing out. That was the left side of the posture, gently releasing, crossing the ankles, knees to chest, hands flat, inhale, press, tilt some weight forward, flick the hands in front. Eventually we do a little jump back, if not just step back, elbows in as you lower down. And over time we're trying to keep the body a little bit stronger as we lower down in all of these vinyasas. Inhale, lift the chest, roll the shoulders back, exhale, gently pressing back, downward facing dog. Inhale, look into the hands, a couple of steps, whatever it takes, walking the feet through, sitting back down, straighten out the legs. And it's a good idea to use a block for this next posture, Mukha Ekapada Paschimottanasana, where we gently, a counter stretch to the previous posture is reverse folding this leg back, gently moving that calf away. Over time, this foot is a little bit further behind us. We could use the thumb of that right hand just to draw that right hip crease down. We need to feel like we're nice and level before we think about going forward. So you might just have your hands here. Inhale, lift the chest, gently folding down. If you need another block, no problem. Over time, we wouldn't be using a block here, but it's one of these postures where it's a good idea to. And at any of these full bends, if you wish to use a belt just to get a little bit of lift and just be here, that of course is fine. And your practice is going to vary from day to day or week to week. So just be with how it feels right now on your yoga mat. Inhale. We're just going to switch sides from this posture, although eventually something to work towards is a vinyasa, but we're building up the stamina over time to gently reverse fold this left leg back. You might roll that calf out. Over time, you're gently on the top of that left foot, but take it easy. You could use your left thumb into that left hip crease. You need to feel like you're centered here. It doesn't want to feel like you're rolling off to the right. Only when it feels like you're secure do you want to think about going forwards. Over time, this is a sort of traditional forward bend, reaching a little bit further for the foot. But just to begin with, hands just close to that right knee and left knee on the left side. Lift the chest and folding down just for a few breaths. Smooth breath in. Smooth breath out. A few more breaths. So this is the left side of the posture. And then inhale, coming up. We can remove the block. We're going to take a vinyasa now. So we can cross the ankles, knees to chest, hands flat. Inhale, press, tilt some weight forward, whatever it takes. From here, the challenge is to keep the hands there. It's feeling like you're lifting from within to get the weight lifted forward and almost feeling like the feet are being pulled back. Step or hop back, elbows in, press to lower down. Inhale on the tops of the feet, lift the chest, roll the shoulders back. Exhale, gently pushing back. Downward facing dog. From this downward facing dog, inhale, look into the hands. Couple of steps, whatever it takes. Coming through, straighten out the legs. Ready for Shavasana A. This will now feel possibly a little bit more accessible as you draw the sole of your right foot to the inside of left knee. You could hold this knee here. You could let gravity drift it down. You probably notice you're slightly off to the right. Can you square up to that left leg? Try and feel some inward connection here. Over time, you reach a little bit further forwards. Foot is obviously still a fair way away. To inhale, lift the chest, exhale. Going to try and maintain some lift of the chest, shoulders soft, but gently just rounding down. Let your head hang somewhere above that left knee. Trying to get your shoulders nice and soft and relaxed. And the shoulders same level. You don't want to drift down on the left side here. Just gaze slightly forwards, maybe just catching sight of your toes and breathing. And then inhale. Let's have a go at doing a full vinyasa. I know it's quite challenging, so keep breathing. And if you're not up for it, obviously just take a breather. Inhale, press, tilt some weight forward. Remember the option to flick the hands in front. You could still be using blocks either side. That's nice from time to time, just to feel that lift up, jumping or stepping back. Elbows in to go down. Inhale on the tops of the feet, lift the chest. Exhale, all the way back. Downward facing dog. Inhale, couple of steps, whatever it takes. Press to sit down. Left side of the posture, keeping this right leg pleasantly active to protect the leg. Sole of the left foot, it could be different on this side. You could be holding the knee, block underneath this knee. It could be floating in space. You're probably slightly off to the left. Can you square up so it feels a little bit more like you're facing forwards? Hands wherever feel appropriate. Could be a little bit different, folding forwards over this right leg. So don't overstretch. It doesn't want to ever feel like you're doing this in a posture. Better just to be here, lift the chest, roll the shoulders back, and exhale, even if it's a few degrees. Let the chest just come down. Maybe just gaze down or slightly just forward, catch sight of your right toes. Try and feel some inward connection with the sole of your left foot on the inside of the right leg. Keep breathing. Smooth breath in. Smooth breath out. Inhale, come up. Exhale, release. Crossing ankles. Vinyasa. If you're getting tired, just have a breather. If you're up for it, inhale, push. Even if nothing much is happening, just make the effort to press, tilt some weight forward. Even if you have to come back down and just walk the feet round to the side. Even if you're just coming down onto your knees here and a bit tired, just take it steady. Inhale, you don't have to go too far on these movements. Just here is enough. Maybe cobra. Keep the knees bent if you want to just be here for a breath, but we need to come back through. Sit down. Ready for Shavasana B. It's the same leg position as the A. Again, if you need a block. And remember from last week, this unusual movement where we try and press up to lift up, go diagonally to the side. That's forwards and to the right to squarely sit on your heel. This knee might move in a little bit. That's fine. Try not to let it move in too far. Your right foot, incidentally, wants to try and feel like it's facing forwards. You might just want to get to here. Inhale, lift the chest. A very gentle forward bend, possibly take it steady. If it feels too much and you want to just repeat the previous Shavasana, you can. Trying to squarely sit on that heel. Reminder just to keep the sense of Mula Bandha, this upward flying sense of lift there in all of these movements. And then just coming up, just going to do a lift. The lift probably is the hardest thing in these vinyasas. Keep bearing the weight across your ankles, knees to chest, hands flat. Inhale, press, push, push. Exhale, come back down. Left side, right leg is straight, sole of left foot on inside of right leg. We're going to lift up, make sure this feels okay. Could use a block here. Forwards and to the left, just squarely sit on that left foot. Try and keep the toes facing forwards. This knee can move in a bit. Try not to let it swing in too much. Could be different on this side in terms of folding forwards. You might just be here. You might just be sitting up tall. That might be a nice way. And there are plenty of forward bends in this yoga series. If you want to go a few degrees forward, you can. Ultimately, a little bit further forward with the hands, but wherever you are, just round down, just let the head hang a little bit. Keep breathing. Coming towards the end of this section now, so you're doing really well. A few more full deep breaths here. To inhale, come up. So hands down by sides, fingers spread, tilt and wait for whatever it takes to jump or step the feet back. Elbows in, press to lower down. Try and keep that sense of energy as you go down. Lift the chest wherever you are, either cobra or thighs off the ground. Either way, roll those shoulders back, lift the chest. Knees down, gently lifting the hips. Downward facing dog. Inhale, coming through to sitting. Now last week in lesson 7, we did the preparation for Janushasana C, this slightly more challenging posture. We were here for a few breaths. You can repeat that if you wish. If you want to explore the posture just a little bit further, it's more challenging posture. The best way into this, just to begin with, is to bend your right knee, right side first. Reach your right hand underneath the lower leg. Can you get your fingers around for the big toe side of that foot? With your left hand, you're going to cup the heel and gently, don't force anything, just encourage the heel to slightly lift off the ground as the toes come in at a diagonal towards you. You could just be here. So just take a few breaths. If you want to go further, as the toes come in, the heel lifts, and over time, gently starts moving that knee down towards the ground. But let's just begin here for a few more breaths. In these more challenging postures, the most important thing to do is to breathe. You don't need to go any further than this. The full posture, just so you can see, is to move that knee down. And again, this can become a forward bend as you fold over your heel. So this time your heel just gently engaging with Uddiyana Bandha, the sense of keeping the abdomen firm. And then we're just going to back off from there. We're just doing a little lift between sides. Ankles cross, knees to chest, fingers spread, inhale, press, tilt some weight forward, exhale back down, straightening out the legs, keeping this right leg active. Could be different on this side, bend that left knee, gently make sure it feels okay here. Taking your left hand underneath and reaching your fingers round, your forefingers on the big toe side of that left foot. You can cup that left heel, and it's all about, remember, direction and movement. You're going to start here, over time, moving the toes in. Try and keep some lift to the heel, so eventually the heel is up as the toes are down, a little bit closer in. And this knee, don't force anything, will drift a little bit further down towards the ground. But this is a great way. And keep this right leg pleasantly active, keep those toes spread. Slightly lean into it, all of these postures, forward bends. A few more breaths here. So these variations of Janushasana A, B, and C is subtly different. Just moving the hip and rotating the hip slightly differently each time. Most important thing is to check it's okay on the knee before we back off. Crossing ankles, knees to chest. Vinyasa seems to be a lot of these vinyasas. Just do whatever feel you can. Press with the fingers spread. Step or hop the feet back. Elbows into lower down. Inhale on the tops of the feet. Lift the chest, roll the shoulders back. Exhale. Getting the feet back, downward facing dog. Inhale, looking to the hands, a couple of steps, whatever it takes, coming through, straightening out the legs. Ready for Marichyasana A, B, C, and D. We're really concentrating on the A and the C, and I'll explain the B and the D. They're variations respectively on the A and the C. We're going to bend our right knee and draw the foot in along the ground this time and have a little bit of separation. Now, just to begin with, as far as feels comfortable in your right knee, foot might be here. We take some weight out to the left. We inhale this right hand up and then go forwards. Now, a couple of options here. You might, if this shoulder is just approximately where the knee is, just put your hands down here, lift the chest, and just be here for a few breaths in the posture. Again, it's another forward bend. This time your right foot is down on the ground. Over time, we get this shoulder a little bit further forwards, then we can inwardly rotate shoulder, the right shoulder with palm up, and we might get to here. You could have a belt hand if you can't quite reach around. Now the left hand is behind you, and we can be here for a few breaths. And keep breathing. If it feels okay over time, this foot can be a little bit further in, and eventually we're reaching for the fingers behind the back. And then just releasing from there. Doing a lift between sides, crossing ankles, knees to chest. Inhale, press. Exhale down. Ready for Marichyasana A on the left side. So the right leg is straight. A little bit of space between the feet. Make sure the knee, your left knee, feels okay to get this foot. Just to begin with, just close to your right knee. A little bit of weight out to the right. So it helps get this left arm up. And over time, forward. The shoulder, don't force anything. Once it's in front of the knee, you can scoop your left palm down and then back up. If it's not quite there, you're not going to get it round. You're just going to accept you're going to be here and take it forward a few degrees. If you can just get it behind you, but there's a little bit of space between the hands, obviously a belt behind you, and just be here. Try and lift the chest and just round down, let the head hang. Over time, you could maybe reach the hands behind, or you might still be here. And then exhale, coming up. I'm going to cross the ankles, just keep mixing that up. Knees to chest, hands flat, inhale, tilt and weight forward, jumping or stepping the feet back, whatever it takes. Elbows into lower down. Inhale on the tops of the feet, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. As we come back through, Marichyasana B, we'll spend a little bit more time doing this later on, but same position of the right leg, except rotating your left hip, getting this foot just underneath here. You can close that gap if that feels okay. And it's the same. Everything we did before is the same. Some weight out to the left, right arm up, shoulder in front, palm scoops down. A belt over time, getting the fingers. If you're still not getting that shoulder in front, don't rush, just be here. 5 breaths. Smooth breath in. Smooth breath out. Keep that right foot planted down. Double check your left knee feels okay. Inhale, lift the chest. Exhale, we're releasing. We're doing a lift between. Don't get discouraged if nothing much is happening. Fingers spread. Press the palms down. Push and tilt a bit of weight forward. Full breath in as you do this. Exhale, back down. Straightening out the legs. So left knee bends, just halfway in. Make sure it feels okay to maneuver your right foot underneath on the ground. You could always close that gap. Some weight out to the right, left arm up. If you can get that shoulder in front of the knee, you can scoop this hand back down. If you can't, just be here. It's a great way into this posture. Just looking down the space between your hands. Shoulder in front, inwardly rotates that left shoulder. Hands back, be here. You could just leave them on the mat. You could hold onto your shirt, a belt, a bit further to go as the fingers move together. Once you've got your fingers and your hands behind you, it helps pull you forward a little bit. Just take it steady wherever you are. A few more breaths. And then inhale, coming up. Last few seated postures. You're doing really well. Crossing ankles, knees to chest, hands flat. Inhale, press. If you're getting tired of these vinyasas, just take a few moments. You can always work towards doing more over time. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. At some point, as you come back through, it might make more sense now to try and walk the feet and lift the hips. You could have a go at doing this little bunny hop. Crossing the ankles, pressing to come back down. Sit down. Marichyasana C now is a twisting posture. Same leg position as the A. Remember, the feet are apart. Foot comes in, except we're turning. To begin with, just take your left hand around the outside of this knee. Try and sit up as you turn, putting your right hand behind. If it feels a little bit uncomfortable to be sitting on the ground like this, of course, as always, up on the block, a little bit more accessible. Just be here for now. Lift the chest, gently turning and looking behind. Completely optional. Further to go is to maneuver your left elbow on the outside of your right knee. Your palm is facing the way you're turning. But as you look away from that left leg, try and keep it active. Lift the chest, roll the shoulders back. It's not about how far back you can look. It's trying to get a sense that you're turning your torso to the right. Keep breathing. Especially on these twisting postures, make sure you can find that steady breath. And then facing the front. If there's too much to be here, of course, just be here. We're going to simply switch sides as we're sitting on our block. Right leg is straight, bending left knee. A little bit of space here. Keep this right leg active to begin with. Just fingers around the outside below that left knee. Sit up. Trying to sit tall, lift the chest. Fingers behind At some point you might be able to get the palm down. Realistically, if you're on a block, this might not be possible, but lift the chest and turn your torso. Imagine from the base of your spine out through the top of your head, you're turning. Further to go, optional, is to get your right elbow just on the outside of your left knee, fingers up towards the ceiling. Keep this right leg active. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, twist. A couple more breaths here. Smooth breath in and out. After 5 breaths, we inhale, face the front. We release. If we were sitting on a block, we could move that away. Vinyasa, last couple. Inhale, press, tilts and weight forward. Jumping or stepping the feet back, elbows into lower down. If you're getting tired, just come down onto your front. Inhale, lift the chest. Exhale, push back and jumping or stepping through. It's quite logical, this sequence of Marichyasanas. So the same leg position for the B for the twisting variation. So foot here, except instead of this leg being straight, it's an opportunity just to bring it to here for now and do the same posture. You could explore sitting down on the ground here, and you could get to here. The block is optional. You try and inhale, lift the chest, exhale, twist. So make sure it feels okay with this left foot where it is, and that left knee and the hip. Keep pressing gently down to that right foot, lift the chest, exhale, turn. Couple more breaths. And then we inhale, facing the front. Exhale, release. Little lift between, crossing ankles, hands flat. Don't be tempted to come onto your fingertips. You've got to press firmly down to inhale, push, tilt a bit of weight forward. Exhale, legs out in front. Left side of the posture means as we bend our left knee, just walk that foot in as far as feels okay. It's the right foot comes here. If you did need to put a block underneath this right knee, you could, that's optional. Same way in is just to be here initially. A little bit further is to get to here. Wherever you are, inhale, lift the chest, exhale, twist. And as you're in the posture on the left side, make sure your right knee feels okay. Keep trying to lift the chest as you inhale. Exhale, twist. Remember, it's not about how far back you're trying to look, just keep the neck free. It's about trying to lift and turn your torso. A few more breaths. 4 and 5. Good. Inhale, facing the front. Exhale, releasing, crossing ankles, hands down. Last vinyasa. Inhale, push, tilts and weight forward. Jump or step the feet back, elbows in. Inhale on the tops of the feet, lift the chest up, facing dog. Exhale all the way back. Down facing dog. Inhale, look into the hands. A couple of steps, whatever it takes. Feet come through, straight legs. So moving through to the last few seated postures. Going to cross our ankles. Make sure you feel okay sitting here. Remember, we can sit up on a block if we wished. We put the back of the hands on the knees, thumb and index finger touch, remaining 3 fingers pointing down towards the ground. We sit up nice and tall. And you can see the similarity now between this seated posture and Dandasana, the first seated posture we did, where we draw the chin down towards the top of the chest and look at the space between the knees. 10 breaths here. We're going to switch sides halfway through. So we're going to breathe in, breathe out. Is 1. Smooth breath in. Smooth breath out. Is 2. Keep sitting up nice and tall as you inhale through the nose. Exhale through the nose. Is 3. Keep the face relaxed. Nice deep breath in. Deep breath out. 4. Breathing in. And out. It's 5. Now we're going to carry on counting up to 10, but we're going to just cross our legs the other way around. Now you might not have explored this before, and if you haven't, it feels a little bit unusual to begin with to sit cross-legged the other way around. We're just going to get used to that. And again, if you wish to sit up on a block, you could. Replacing the back of the hands on the knees. Try and keep the arms straight. Imagine your profile from the side is fairly straight back. Don't worry if it feels like you're slightly drawn forwards. Just lift the chest, keep the shoulders soft, gazing down at the space between the knees as you breathe in. Breathe out. That's 6. Smooth breath in. Out. 7. Keep your awareness tuned into the sensation of breathing. 8. 9, 10. That seated posture is called Padmasana. Eventually we'd sit with the legs crossed, but this is a great way in just to begin with. And the last seated posture is called Uplutihi, and that's where we spread the fingers and press the palms into the ground. And it's similar now to the Vinyasa, but for 10 breaths, can you press firmly down to the ground, try and keep the knees drawn in. Don't worry physically, nothing much is happening. Just make the effort to press down. Remember, it's from internally feeling your abdomen, not just drawing in, but almost lifting up. Uddiyana Bandha in yoga terms and Mula Bandha, this support here. Inhale, press, tilt some weight forward. Is 1, just keep pressing down. 2, 3, you might have your hips off the ground. 4, don't worry if you don't, just press down. 5, keep slightly leaning into it. 6, a few more breaths, you're doing really well. 7, keep breathing. 8, keep pressing down. 9, 10, exhale, release. Well done. We're going to take our final posture, Shavasana, where we're going to take the feet nice and wide. We lie down on our backs, arms off to the side, palms up. At this point, if you wish just to pause and put some socks on or an extra layer of clothes, you want to maintain this nice heat we've built up. And then this sensation that we're just melting into the ground. Relax the shoulders, feel the back of the head on the mat. Space around all of the joints. And it's appropriate now to let go this awareness to the abdomen, which creates strength and lightness in the practice. You want to feel your tummy soft now. As you breathe in, it might rise and fall. And just let the breath come and go naturally. Whatever feels appropriate for you to breathe. If you wish, additionally, in through the mouth and out through the mouth, let the breath just flow. Feel that space down the back of the throat. Feel the eyelids heavy, the eyes closed now. Forehead soft. And this posture, Shavasana, as we've talked about before, just as important as all the other postures. Chance now for the body just to relax, to release. I want you to take your awareness from the top of your head and slowly move down the entire body, like you're doing a slow scan. So you can keep checking everything is completely free. The muscles in the face, back of the head gently on the mat. Feel the neck completely relaxed and the shoulders soft. Take your awareness down your arms, past the elbows, the wrists and the fingers. Imagine space between all of those joints. And then from the top of your spine, vertebrae by vertebrae, down the back. Imagine the spine just settling into alignment all the way down to the lower back, where you can feel space around the hips. Just double check your abdomen, your tummy completely soft as you breathe in. Feel that sense of rising. As you breathe out, falling. And then continuing to take your awareness down the legs, past the knees, the ankles, and the toes, and imagine space around all of those joints. So can you find that place where it feels like you are floating in space, completely weightless, completely free? And you can repeat that in reverse from the toes, working your way upwards a few more times, completely let go. And trying to find some balance between the stillness, the physical stillness of this posture, and this steady quality of mind that is simply tuned inwards to the sensations throughout the body. So we feel we are present, using the breath as an anchor to keep us in this calm, tranquil place. And we're staying here for a few more moments. And then gently beginning to move the fingers and the toes. A little bit more movement into the hands and the feet. Gently taking the arms up, back behind you. Relax the shoulders. Wherever you get to with the hands on the ground or the mat behind your head, just pause there for a moment. If you wish, you can inhale and just take the fingers a little bit further back, bring the feet together and feel that nice extension all the way through the body, down the legs to the toes, and pause there. And finally, we bend the knees. We draw the knees in towards the chest. We can reach the fingers round, slowly moving from side to side on the lower back. We stay in this curled up position and gently roll onto our right side. We can take this as an opportunity to gently open up the eyes, just to get used to our surroundings. And then, when we're ready, supporting ourselves, come up to sitting. Just nice, easy cross leg, whatever feels comfortable. Okay, so well done for getting through lesson 8. So this practice is expanding now. If you were to do this from the beginning and didn't stop and got to this point, it's getting on for an hour. So it's quite challenging, but we are building up to this over time. But remembering, some days feel a little bit different to other days. Just do whatever feels appropriate. And at the beginning, remember, we're starting with lesson 5, letting that run, the beginning part of the sequence, the standing postures and the sun salutations. And then lesson 8 takes us a good way through. I'd encourage you to do this combination of lesson 5 to start you, and then lesson 8 as many times as you feel appropriate, at least a week, even 2 weeks, and then you'll be ready for lesson 9. Lesson 9 is a key lesson because I'm going to talk you through that sequence. One more posture, just one more further on than where we've got to, posture called Navasana, taking us through halfway point in this primary series. So you're doing really well. So there's a PDF, as I mentioned, to go with this lesson, to explore the postures, the additional postures, Shavasana and Marichyasanas, a little bit further, and plenty more resources on the website, onyouryogamat.com. Wherever you are, have a really great week. See if you can do a little bit of practice every day. It doesn't need to be the whole hour, maybe just some sun salutations if you've got a busy day, just whatever you can manage. And I look forward to seeing you next time on your yoga mat for lesson 9 from this Learning Ashtanga series yoga course. Have a great day. Thanks. See you. Bye-bye.